How's it going, people? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the Forever Arsenal podcast. Been a little while since the game week shows that we do. Obviously, hopefully you checked out the last show we done, which was the all-time Arsenal draft that came out last week. Forever Arsenal crew with lead judges there as well in Thailand with the birds chirping. So make sure you show that video some love. Lee's not with us today. He's unavailable. He's out enjoying. He's tired of getting dock points for being late now. And to be honest, I'm tired of it as well. Like, he's not very professional. He doesn't, turn up on time. Sometimes you'll be here waiting at 8:50 a.m. He's on a motorbike in the middle of Thailand, just enjoying himself with his top off. So I think, we had a discussion off there, and it's best for him to, not attend this one, see it from the stands, and then, come back in for the next one. We hope for a Carlos Tevez return. Man City 2013-14. That's what we hope for. But listen, as it was when Carlos Tevez was out, they still had a Sergio Aguero, and we still got a Sergio Aguero of our own coming in for the Carlos Tevez. And in the bottom right corner, we've got Mr. Curtis Shaw TV. What are you saying, Curtis?
I was panicking. I was thinking if he calls me like Jacko or something, I don't know how I'm going to take that. But Aguero, I take that all day long, bro. You know what I mean?
Underrated baller,
Jacko. Man. Obviously, really enjoy this show. Usually I come on when Jordan's not here because he's doing work worldwide as he is. But I'm glad he's here today because me and him always have interesting football discussions.
We do.
So, yeah, man.
We do. You're always wrong, but I enjoy jousting with you. No, man, big up yourself, Curtis, man. Big up yourself. Thanks for coming.
Curtis, any argument you have with Jordan, I suggest that you refer it to the comments because the comments don't tend to like him. So if you put the votes, you'll win whatever.
Easy win.
Easy win.
All right.
Easy win. Easy W. 3 points. That's what we need on the weekend. I don't know if Arsenal can do the same with Jordan on the weekend, but for 3 points, I wouldn't mind them sacrificing good old Jordan in the top right there. Jordan, are you good? Where are you? Are you in Thailand now as well? Saying, well, you're not.
I'm not. I wish.
The sun's shining in you. I don't know where you are, bro.
So no, I'm home, but I'm just getting that West London glare. You know what I mean? I'm getting that West London sunshine coming through, blessing my face. So no, I wish I was in Thailand, but just in cold West London.
Cold West London. James, you been anywhere over the winter break, or you just been eagerly anticipating Arsenal's return?
I've just been freezing. So cold. I hate this time of year. I hate it. Yeah. See, December makes it bearable because like Christmas and whatever, but January's a shit month. Let's be real. Every month, and the only thing I'm like, well, it's all right because football. Well, we've lost all our games. Oh, okay, well. I don't know, transfers. Well, we haven't signed anyone. All right. So bring on Feb.
Has anybody realised like how relaxed we've been without Arsenal? Like I've enjoyed the break a little bit. I think I needed it.
Yeah, we need. I think the fans. Needed it. I wanted the game to come straight away just to get that whatever it is off our backs. Because I expect to beat Palace and we'll get into Palace. But I think the players and Arteta needed the last 2 weeks. But you know what? Before we get into the last 2 weeks and the game coming up and what the players needed, the manager needed, and what we expect, James mentioned the transfer window essentially, and it's been very quiet. A lot of people hope for Tony. Then Brentford come out of a post where it looks like that's Tony staying. Then Tony comes out of an interview where it looks like he's open to move. So that's gonna go back and forth for the rest of the month. But from my perspective, I don't think that's something that's even close to being a likely move for us. But what could be a likely move, one that I wouldn't say is past the club, even in the financial situation they find themselves in, is a loan move for Karim Benzema. So with a lot of rumours around his name, the need for a striker, and, what he brings outside of goal scoring, being at the highest level, he's pretty much done it all. Is that someone that we should? Curtis, special guest on the show. Let's start with you. Transfer window's been quiet, but there does seem like an opportunity for someone out there to potentially bring in a Benzema.
I mean, first of all, you have to check the date on your phone, don't you? I thought I was in 2015, Benzema rumors, Real Madrid. So yeah, it's interesting. Maybe
I heard Higuain's on the other plane as well.
Higuain's there as well. Draxler's, at home as well.
We're getting them.
Listen, we know the situation we're in. The money's not there, or it appears we can't spend it if it is there, and we've probably got to look at the loan market. Benzema, you would feel like is a no-brainer just because of the experience, the quality that he brings. I always think as a striker, the thing you never lose is your ability to finish chances. You know, you might lose a yard of pace, you might not be as sharp, but in front of goal, you keep that instinct. And for me, I think it's a no-brainer. I know some people have said doesn't look quite as sharp over there. Maybe his motivation's lacking compared to leaving Real Madrid. So you might have to get his fitness up a little bit. But I think to get Benzema in for 6 months and then go and get a long...
I tell you who doesn't look the sharpest, the fucking ones we've got already. So don't worry about who's sharp and who's not out there.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Like, he's not going to be any worse than what the other guys have been doing at the moment. And we are creating a lot of chances, as we've seen, the amount of shots we're having on goal. So, you know, if you're getting Benzema 2-3 good chances a game, I'm sure he'll put 1 or 2 of them away. I suppose the problem you've got with that move is, from Arteta's point of view, you bring Benzema in for 6 months and drop Jesus and them. Is he going to put people's nose out of joint a little bit? Not that that's something that would bother me, because football is ruthless and we need to try and win. But just from his point of view, would he upset the apple cart by bringing in a Benzema for 6 months, dropping Jesus, and then, you know, moving from there? But for me, if Arsenal can get that deal done, it's a no-brainer. Get him in for 6 months.
James, I think you was about to speak, but is it a case of, because when Curtis says it, dropping Jesus, it doesn't sound like something, you know, any of us would potentially have wanted this time 12 months ago or just before the injury at the World Cup. But, you know, it is someone that there's a lot of question marks over in terms of his return in front of goal. But someone that can also play right wing, someone that can also play left wing. So Karim Benzema coming in, I don't really think it has the impact that it could have on Jesus, because I could see him then becoming, you know, the sidekick to a Karim Benzema or to a proper striker that comes in.
Yeah, but I mean, I think we have these fears because Arteta's proven not very good at rotating. He's just not very good at mixing up the team.
Is that trust, or is it?
I don't know.
What do you
I don't
think?
know, because I kind of understood it in his early years. Like, he only maybe had a core of 12 to 13 players he really kind of trusted. But, you know, we're going into games saying, well, you know, Trossard needs more minutes, Kivior needs more minutes, Nelson he gave a new deal to. What's going on there? Smith Rowe he gave the number 10 to. You know, that feels like a trust thing, but also a lot of these players he signed. So if you get Benzema in for 6 months, like, for me, that's perfect, because, I mean, look, the whole wages thing, what can Arsenal do? I don't know. And understand that there's obviously a limit to how far Arsenal are willing to go on that front. But, you know, Saka doesn't look himself this season. His numbers are better than ever, but, you know, in terms of the rate at which he's getting them, but he doesn't look himself. So there's nothing wrong with Benzema leading the line every now and again with Jesus out on the right. So it doesn't have to be Jesus necessarily that loses place. Martinelli hasn't been in good form, so he plays Jesus out on the left. Or if Jesus isn't bearing his chances, which he hasn't been, and he's had 3 injuries already this season, all 3 of them knee-related, then Benzema does start a few games, and then maybe you're not aggravating that situation and putting Jesus under pressure to be that guy when, you know, he's clearly still struggling to find that sort of 100% top fitness since his knee injury last season. So, yeah, I think a loan deal like that is something we should be looking at. And this is a guy who got 19 goals in La Liga last season in 24 appearances. You know, he was still banging goals then, 27 goals the league before. So it's not that we're not getting some washed player. It was only 6 months ago he'd just come off the back of a 19-goal season for Real Madrid. So, yeah, I think for 6 months, it's absolutely worth the punt for me.
Yeah. Before I move on to Jordan, I mean, Curtis, James, I've avoided social media over the winter break. I've had a few days off. How likely is this move? Is this very likely that Benzema does move, and it's who he moves to? That's more the debate.
It's very likely he moves to Europe. I think he'll come back to Europe, but whether it's us, I just don't see Arsenal doing it. There are rumors and like people are having their fun with it online. There have been some reports that Arsenal are considering it, but yeah, I'm not saying it's definitely not happening. I just it all feels to me like, you know, Isak 2 years ago, that kind of thing. We want him, but it's not doable. yeah, they love him, but it's not doable. It feels like that kind of thing.
Yeah. From what I've read, I mean, there's only really one reporter that put it out there, and obviously he got a lot of traction from that story. And I just think it just feels so un-Arsenal like this deal. The wages are huge as well. I think they were saying he's on like £2.5 million a week or something crazy like that. So even if you've got to pay a portion of that, you might have to pay 500,000-600,000 a week. I don't know if it's doable. But the good thing is it seems like he hasn't turned up for their sort of midwinter break, so he's rebelling a little bit. Henderson's just rebelled and got the move. Firmino apparently could be moving, so he may push for the move.
Firmino?
I think Firmino come out or someone come out in his camp to say that they're going to stay.
Oh, they're going to stay. Okay, yeah. But
would you have done that deal?
No.
Firmino?
6 months on loan?
No, I don't think. I think Benzema would lift the whole club, and I do think the club needs a lift, fan base and the players. Firmino, not for me.
It's Jordan. Sorry, James.
No, I was going to say just a quick line. I don't see this happening, but Eddie out 30 million, Benzema on loan, and you get in like an Onana or someone. I know that sounds crazy. Like that sounds Onana 50 million and Benzema on loan. I don't think that should be as undoable as it sounds. But that would be the kind of thing that makes me think, yeah, we've not spent 100 million, but I feel like the squad's in a much better place.
But Everton are seemingly under pressure right now.
Yeah, they're in trouble.
What did I read this morning about 40? Someone bid something for one of their players.
Branthwaite.
Yeah.
They might have to sell him as well. Apparently, Arsenal are looking at him. I think it was Alex Crook who said that, and he's actually quite good on the Arsenal stuff. So, I have a feeling that the window's too quiet and something's going to explode soon. It's way too, and I mean for all clubs, Chelsea, City, Liverpool. I think I think everyone, because of FFP, is slowly plotting, waiting to see what certain clubs' financial situations are, see if anyone gets desperate. And then I think the last week might come to life.
Jordan, let me frame this question in a different way then, off the back of what James and Curtis said. Let's say January 27th, it's official. Karim Benzema signs 6-month loan deal for Chelsea, or signs 6-month loan deal for Man United, or signs 6-month loan deal at, insert club here, and it's not Arsenal. Do you feel like Arsenal would have missed the trick? Do you feel, like that should be us? Or do you think this is one that's really we missed out on? No point looking back. He's 36 now, and his motivation ain't there. So it would be a panic move.
I would feel like we've missed a trick and missed out if the deal was doable and we didn't do it. But I think, as James alluded to, forget Benzema, can we sign anybody at the moment? I mean, the simple, bare binary facts are, if we can't buy anyone, we can't buy anyone. So there's no point debating for the next 3 weeks about buying people. If the math ain't mathing, then it's a kind of moot point. But I can normally find a negative or a reason to maybe not sign pretty much any transfer that we're linked with. I can normally find, even if the positives outweigh the negatives, I can always find like a couple of like, there's that, and but there is that. With this speculation on Benzema, I genuinely can't find a reason why it doesn't make sense. It's only a loan. If you can make the financials work from our end of it, great. I agree with James. I don't think he's washed up. I think there's still someone that can, even for 6 months, get you 10 Premier League goals between now and May. I agree with Curtis. I think it would give the club a lift. I think right now, not only the team, I think the club needs a lift. You bring in Karim Benzema, even at the back end of his career, that's still a big move for the club. Like Curtis said as well, I mean, it does feel like it's typical Arsenal, signing a player 3, 4, 5 years after they probably should have signed that player. But I genuinely can't really see a massive downside. I think he'll bang. I think with the chance we're creating, in the last month alone, I think he gets at least 3, 4 goals in that period. So I can't really see a particular downside to doing the deal. I don't think we'll do any deals this year. I disagree with James in where he made the point about it being a relatively slow start to the window for all clubs. He thinks it will get better. I don't. I don't think any fan should expect huge excitement or drama or incomings in this particular window. I think FFP has got everybody shook. I think FFP has got everybody looking at their finances, and I think it's got everyone asking themselves, at a time when teams are getting fined and getting points deducted and getting really scrutinized, is it really necessary in this window to go big? There's probably only a couple of teams you could say have to spend. Chelsea, I think they have to spend. Chelsea can't finish 8th. They just can't finish 8th. So they have to, if they can, press the button. But I don't think most teams have to. I think most teams will probably rather wait. And my final point would be, I made this point before, I don't think Arsenal, despite wanting to win the Premier League title this year and being in a, albeit outside position now, should panic. I don't think they should go for a good player. If they can't get the guy they want in this window, I would wait. I heard Robbie doing a stream a couple of weeks ago about whether he thinks Arsenal should go for Tony now versus Osherman, just as 2 examples in the summer. If that is if that is a genuine possibility, I'd wait. And if it means you finish 2nd or 3rd, that's crap. That's not what any Arsenal fan wants, of course. But I just don't think you want to blow that much money on a guy that isn't your first choice in this window. I would re-up, learn lessons, lick your Havertz wounds, and go again in the summer.
Do you not think, Jordan, that
They're deep wounds, to be fair, to because they're deep wounds. They're deep wounds.
We're dead.
I don't know.
Wounds were fucking leaking. There's no hospital in miles. Sorry, James.
No.
What's that?
I don't think we'll ever recover truly from this Havertz.
What are you saying? It's a matter of minutes. Man's dying. He's dead. He's bled out.
Yeah,
you know, wife is John. Someone please call 911. He's singing it in the rain, bro. Please, someone, bro.
Like,
someone.
He's done. Sorry, James. Sorry.
No, I was going to ask. Do you not think? And I don't know what I'm even suggesting here, but do you not think like the transfer window as a product, because the transfer window is a thing that exists for clubs to sign players, but it's also like a total vehicle for entertainment.
I hate it.
You know, do you not think? And again, I don't know what I'm saying here because it sounds like I'm saying, "Oh, FFP in the Premier League will relax to allow business," but I just feel like that can broadcasters and the media and the Premier League product have a quiet transfer window? Like it feels like it.
I don't think I do. I don't think the media and the industry wants a quiet transfer window, because transfer windows drive interest, drive numbers, drive noise, drive talk, drive articles, drive broadcasts and content. And also it makes agents get busy and it enables them to kind of play players off against each other and clubs. It's a whole industry that I hate. I hate this period of the window of the season. I know some people love it. I despise the transfer window.
I'm starting to hate it.
I've always hated it. It's just it's a myth and it's noise. And just before Curtis kind of comes in, I personally think that Arsenal, and I know we'll get onto it in a bit, Turkish, but I think at this period it's not really about who should we be buying and who we linked with. I think it's about just going back to basics and just, if anything, bringing down the noise and just kind of like, right, Crystal Palace is the focus. Because right about now, so on the last pod we did for the draft one, for me, it's a crisis. We lose at Palace. This is bad. We're then kind of going into a top 4 battle. So for me, all the noise around transfers for me is the last thing we need, especially at a time when the likelihood is we can't and won't sign anybody. Let's go back to basics. Let's go back to winning, getting 3 points and a clean sheet against Palace and picking up our season again. This period, to kind of answer the question I think you're asking, James, I hate it, but I understand why it's ramped up.
Yeah, I just feel like one of 2 things may happen. Either, again, I don't know how this manifests itself, but there's some kind of like, look, the transfer window needs to be good because of all the things you said it drives. So I don't know what escalates that, but I just have a feeling that, are we going to go a whole window with, I mean, when I say nothing is happening. Drag us into Tottenham, That is it. And then a couple other loans. Like, it is beyond quiet. So I think someone will pick up there. Also, just the nature of economics, like one domino falls. And, you know, is it a case of actually Chelsea do spend that? I don't know. Do they spend that 50 million that gives another club a 50 million, and then the ball gets rolling a little bit? I don't know. I wonder if there's going to be something like that maybe kicks things off in the market. But
I think the strange thing about this window is because it's probably been one of the quietest Januaries we've ever seen, like you said. But there's a lot of teams that you look at and think they could do with doing business. Like, we need one or two players. Man United don't look great. Chelsea could do with a striker. So you're thinking, is it this profit and sustainability thing that the Premier League have introduced seems a lot more strict than the FFP rules? And people are actually having to say, we can't get around that. Look what they've done to Everton. Forest are in trouble. So I think these stricter protocols are almost stopping clubs from doing business in this window.
I'd chuck City and Liverpool as well, by the way, in terms of teams that could do some business. I think, I'm not.
City needs someone.
No, I think they could win the title without anyone. But you know, they had De Bruyne out for 4 months. Okay, he's just returned. My word, what a return! I think we're probably going to talk about that. Mahrez and Gundogan have gone out. Kovacic and Nunes have done okay. Haaland's had some injuries out. Like, I do think they look maybe short of one or two, just in terms of the perfect squad. Stones has had injuries this season. I think Liverpool could do with a centre back and a six as well. So I think pretty much everyone would like to. So
would like to, but I don't think will. And just Curtis's point just a second ago, I actually don't think it is a bad thing. I don't think it's a bad thing at all. I think part of the reason why, and it's a wider discussion around football and you know, who's successful in that, but part of the problem for me is that this kind of splurging and this reliance on solving problems, spend, we got to buy. And another point I made in the last pod about Arteta going back to coaching. How about you coach? That squad you've got is not an awful squad. All right, is it a Premier League winning squad? Maybe it is, maybe it's not. Cool. But it's not an awful squad. This idea that every we just leap from window to window, and as fans, we got to buy a right back. We got to buy a number 10. We got to buy a DM. We got to buy a centre back. At what point do managers have to just manage? Just manage your team. This kind of this cop out of buy. I'm sorry, it's got to stop. So I actually don't mind if there's minimal transfer windows, minimal spending in this window, because we're going to now see who the real managers are.
Yeah. That doesn't bode well when it's Arteta, Pep, Klopp, does it?
Maybe not. You know,
maybe not. And there's an argument that he coached it to the maximum level last season. That's why I won't completely dismiss the notion that spend is part of the fix moving forward. Because I look at our side and you ask, you know, is it good enough for a Premier League title? Probably no, if I'm honest with you. Probably no. More fool me for maybe thinking it was earlier on in the season. But as I sit here now and I see some of the changes, you know, Havertz coming in key position, a lack of a backup striker, consistent injury problems for a couple of I don't think it's primed for a Premier League title, especially when you look at what Man City and what Liverpool have. The reason Man City don't need to go into the market this month is because of Arsenal and slightly Liverpool as well. You think if we didn't capitalize and go 5 to 8 points clear during their blip and their Club World Cup, they'd be buying a player this window for sure. Yeah. For sure. But they're looking at like, you know what, we had our blip, you know, 1-1 in 6, and we're still a few points off the top. So really, we don't need to do much. And Champions League doesn't look like, you know, that's upped in level since last year. They're still the favourites for that. So I think when it comes to Arsenal, it's a big one. It's a big one because we can't fall off. That's one thing we can't do from here is fall off. Otherwise, all that hard work Arteta's done, it will slowly but surely unravel. If we lose against Crystal Palace, that is madness. And I know it's still very early in the season, but the run we're on, we're all expecting to come back from this break. We're all expecting that this break was the time needed to take a step back, analyze what's gone wrong, fix it, and go forward. We're all looking at the next 4 games and asking how many points we should get from the 4. If we start those 4 games without winning against Palace, the questions will ramp up on Mikel Arteta for the rest of the season. That's for sure. And I think rightly so, because FFP, you know, over the years, it's really jarred me. FFP, PSR, whatever all these things are, JSA, all of that stuff. I don't know what. You know,
Man said JSA.
and then it's some sort of scheme. Like, I don't know what's going on. So, for me, every
PPE, GCSE.
yeah, man.
Man said JSA.
No, he went crazy. He went mad.
I'd heard that for years.
Right? They're all schemes for someone, isn't it?
Bro, we've had some JSA transfer windows, though. Them Kim Kallstrom days and that.
I'm sure Kim Kallstrom got lost on the way to Job Centre when he arrived.
I'm telling you, man.
I'm sure. But
yeah, you're right, though.
It's not the first time FFP has been over Arsenal's head. Famously or infamously, Wenger, prior to even coming in, was trying to prime this club for FFP. FFP is coming. We've got to save. Whilst we're watching every Tom, Dick, and Harry around us spend, bring in top players, we're selling top players because of something that's potentially coming in. So, in terms of this whole FFP thing, I'm tired. We was nailing down on FFP before it was a thing because of Arsene Wenger. Part of the reason I was so frustrated with him, he was such a financial, expert. He was a don in the economic world or whatever, that he could foresee something coming, that he tried to manage. You know what? Similar to the stadium move. The stadium move was done because, you know, at the time, ticket, income was one of the biggest forms of income. Wenger saw that. They worked together, get a stadium. By the time the stadium's done, ticket income is probably third, fourth on the list of, income over the financial year. So that falls off a bit. I think similar with FFP, he thought it's going to come in. He thought they're going to be stringent. He thought teams like Chelsea, Man City, PSG, etc. would get fined, would get thrown out of competitions, it hasn't happened. So all those years we was priming ourselves for fucking FFP, ended up a loss-making football club. I'm sick of it. But this window here, after all the reset, after all the refresh, I have to look at, and it's not only Mikel Arteta because of that Havertz thing. Mikel Arteta is one person, but Edu is another because of all the lack of sales, the lack of income we've got from our sales has now seemingly caught up to us, because it's all good and well Man City or Liverpool not spending money this month. They've won major honours over the last 6 years. They can potentially wait. Arsenal should be in a position where, because they can't spend, because they've spent a lot and won, majors and the spend has made sense. It should be us scooping in now, getting 1-2 players and going over the line. But instead, it seems like we are waiting the same way Man City and Liverpool are waiting. And if all three of us are waiting and it comes down to, like Jordan said, best manager stand up, we don't need to wait for that. Because if it's Pep, Klopp and Arteta, I'm sorry, if you love Arteta, if he doesn't stand up to Pep or Klopp. He doesn't, and he might never stand up to Pep or Klopp. Those two are legendary managers in their own right. One's up there with the greatest of all time, and one has gone toe to toe with one of the greatest of all time in a similar fashion to what Wenger did with Ferguson. That's what Klopp's done with Guardiola. Obviously, not the league titles that Wenger had, but Champions League and so on. So I'm just frustrated that we're in a position of FFP and it's the manager and director of football I'm looking at. Usually the owners.
Yeah, I do think Arteta's 600 million spend or whatever it is, and all the years that we weren't in the Champions League, probably speaks to the fact that actually we did manage something quite well financially behind the scenes that allowed us to do that. Because you think the Declan Rice, Havertz deals, all that was done before we even kicked a ball back in the Champions League. Obviously, we knew we had it, so that had played a part. But there was they spent a lot of money at a time where I thought, I'm just surprised the last few years there hasn't been more discussion around Arsenal can't afford, Arsenal can't do. And that's not because that's how it should be. With the owners we have, they're rich owners and we're a rich club. We've done what I thought we would, but I guess I'm just saying the FFP conversations come around. I'm not surprised by this now. But you're right. I kind of wish we'd, just managed our resources better. We wouldn't have to. If we did our job better in the summer, I actually think all four of us would be happy not doing anything this window.
Because you know what, James, can I just, sorry to cut you there, but you know what's frustrating me the most? The same fans that 2 years ago or 1 year ago or 3 years ago, when I'm like, for goodness sake, sell Maitland-Niles to Wolves. They said 19 million, sell him. Or Eddie Nketiah, for goodness sake, you got 20, 25, sell him. At that time, I know Curtis is probably along the similar. I'm like, what's Edu doing? What's Arteta doing? We need to get money for some of these players. Otherwise, down the line, it's going to cost us. The same fans at that time saying, stop being negative. Who wants them? Like, who is selling well? Like, we have to get rid of them. We need to clear up. Those are the same fans that now will be giving excuses for the same people saying, well, what do you want them to do? FFP, we didn't sell well. You know, we have to. Well, 2 years ago, when people like me were mentioning the fact that not selling well will catch up to us at some point, were dismissed as negative or pessimistic and ride the wave, enjoy the trajectory. Well, I've enjoyed, but we're there now. And it seems like to get a bit more up there for the trajectory to really get over the line, some spend is going to be required. Some ruthless or a bit more ruthless decisions will be required, because Arteta's been ruthless in his time at Arsenal, but he's been ruthless with the players that, listen, on one hand, you can argue that Ozil has such a fan base that it was bold of Arteta to go against him. You could argue that Oba has such a fan base that it was bold for Arteta to go against him.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he's just won Player of the Month in France. You know, don't let me start pulling out.
Don't get Laurie started as well, please.
Also, we all know that Player of the Month
as well.
Player of the Months don't hold the same weight these days. Is all I'm
they
saying.
don't. I think Harry Maguire won it.
But you see, with those two, as much as they both had fan bases where you might say it's bold of Arteta to do that, they also had a lot of critics that were tired of it. With Ozil, I was tired. I'm glad Arteta, finally ended that one, because it was costing us the contract, the wages, the productivity. It wasn't matching up. With Oba, I understood it. Even with a Guendouzi, I understood it. So we've seen him be ruthless before with players that get under his skin. Players are getting under my skin now. And I'm not saying be ruthless because, oh shit, Turkish is, Eddie's getting under his skin. Let's sell him. But surely if he's getting under my skin, he's getting under other fans' skin. Bro, now's the time to forget the players that, you came in and you played chess with, and you made those bold moves to stamp your authority as manager, because credit to you for that. Now's the time to do that with the players that you actually thought you might be able to turn around. Now's the time to do it with players that, if you let go, you might have a few fans on your back saying, how can you let him go? He's a great number 2 striker. How can you let him go? He can win headers in the final third. All of this. He has to do these decisions now, in my opinion.
I mean, for me, just briefly, a couple of quick points here. Like you said, Arteta, he has been ruthless at times, but where I want to see him change is, for example, you look at somebody like Rob Holding. For a long time, I think a lot of Arsenal fans were like, Rob Holding's not good enough, and he was the backup centre half. It's not like he was 5th choice and hardly kicking a ball. When Saliba got injured, he came in. Holding then leaves the club, and fans would say, yeah, but Holding's a good backup player. He goes to Crystal Palace, doesn't get one start, and Roy Hodgson's talking about cancelling his contract. So you're looking, going, the guy was our backup centre-back, can't get a kick at Palace and could be getting paid up. Now, the same thing to me applies with your El Nenis, and Nketiah maybe not quite as bad, but I still look at Nketiah and think, what level does he end up at if he leaves Arsenal? I think also, like you were saying with Maitland-Niles, sometimes we miss that peak moment to sell the player when they have more value. We know that Palace and clubs are looking at Eddie. He's in the England squad this year. Maybe that's the best time to cash in. He's 25. It's not like he's 18 and just come out of the under-21s. And then, like you said, with the player sales, we know that to be a successful club, you've got to buy well and sell well. All these Ozils, Aubameyangs, all these guys, no matter what we thought about them, they walked out of the door for nothing. We didn't see a penny. Barcelona got 12 million plus Alonso for Aubameyang 6 months after we handed him out for nothing. And Richard Garlick and Edu was high-fiving each other on the Amazon documentary. I'm going, you've got to pick up money for these guys so that in the future we can go and spend. And just quickly, the last one. I think sometimes as a club, you reach a point where you build a foundation and then you have to kind of, use that and springboard forward. And I felt like that point for Arsenal was in the summer. I thought all that sort of dirty work that Arteta had been doing over the years and grinding through those seasons, it was like, you've reached a point now. You're going to start this year in a title race. Big players want to join you. Declan Rice turned down City to come to us. And you think you've got to nail that transfer window. And I think 50% of it we got right, which was Rice and Timber. Timber's injury was unfortunate. But the other 50% for me, David Raya, and Havertz, we didn't nail it. And I think that summer when Liverpool went and got Alisson and got Van Dijk, they nailed it, and they went from top 4 to, I think they won the Champions League the year after. So I think it just feels like we missed a huge opportunity in the summer with the transfers. And then you think, how long does it take us to unravel those issues? Because then you've got Havertz there. The owner's looking at you going, well, you've invested so much money. You've got to try and get something out of him. So I feel like he's almost undone a lot of the good work that he's done in previous years.
I think Havertz is an interesting one as well, because it's not been good at all, and there's a lot of money that's been spent on him. There's a huge outlay, wages and transfer fee, in an era where everyone's talking about 80, 90, 100 million pound signings. We seem to think that 65 mil is not a lot of money. 65 million pounds is still a lot of money to spend on a player. And what's interesting for me is, do Arsenal decide we made a mistake, let's cut our losses and just kind of move him on in the summer? Or do they think, as you said there, Curtis, well, we spent a lot of money on him. We've seen, albeit prior Chelsea, he's got talent and ability. You've got to try and get that out of him. And do we persist with him? And do we get to a point where in 3 years' time, he's still at Arsenal, still not really ripping it up, and we're thinking, you should have cut the contracts like 18 months ago, sort of thing. So I'm really interested to see how the Havertz one plays out, because it will tell us a lot about the club and their transfer tone, if you like. Are they going to be ruthless and be like, you know what, you messed up here, let's cut the tie, move on, take the L, take the lost a bit of money on him, keep it moving? Or did they decide, actually, no, it's been a bad first year, but we're gonna believe that this guy can still come good?
Which can happen. Chelsea didn't get every single transfer right, when they were splashing the cash and, en route to having all their success. The difference with them is you felt that they would always go again, spend what was necessary, hire and fire. Ancelotti finished second, and what was he? Won the FA Cup and the Premier League, finished second the year after he was gone. So we don't quite have that approach. But you're right, the Havertz one is interesting, because I also think if Arteta's really gonna, I was about to say make it work, and I don't know what that looks like, but even if you get a decent squad player out of the guy, can we at least settle on where he's going to play? That's one thing I'd like. Listen, I'm happy to be critical of him, and I have been. I don't think Havertz has been anywhere near good enough. I don't think he's resembling a £20 million player right now. But in his defence, and I'm going to attempt this, I don't think it helps when Nagelsmann, your international coach, sees you as an inverted left back. Your former club saw you as like a striker / second striker. Arteta sees you as a left 8, some Granit Xhaka replacement, when he's got almost none of Xhaka's attributes bar the left foot. People online are calling you the RVP regen. I don't think anyone has a clue what he is. But if Arteta could settle on what he wants him to be, maybe he might start to get some consistency in terms of just some decent performances, keeping things going, squad player. His best impacts for me have been off the bench. He's actually made decent impacts off the bench. I've been happy with him off the bench. And he started the Community Shield up front. Now, that Community Shield slightly ruined by then his start up front against Liverpool, which I thought was poor. A lot of people were talking about his hold-up play, his general play being good, bar the finishing. I totally disagree. I saw a comp doing the rounds, and people were going, people thought he wasn't good. And I was like, you thought he was? Like, this comp's convinced you he was good? That it did nothing. It made me think it was worse that game. But I do have to feel for him to a point where it's like, he knows there's a lot of pressure on him, big price tag. He is not going to deliver if you're moving him all around the pitch. And that includes playing him in the Odegaard role 1 week out on the right, and then on the left in the Xhaka role a week after. Just set on some consistency. He is trying.
I think your early point there, James, is the key point. It's the fact that nobody seems to know his strength. No one seems to be sorted on where he should be playing. And Arteta, seemingly, who's the most important person in this, he doesn't seem to. Turkish has said before that when he first came in, he spoke about him being a midfielder, but But yet in the cup game, when you've actually got Nketiah, a striker, who's your backup striker, to come in for Jesus to play up top, you're playing Havertz. So I think the fact that or Trossard, you spent 65 mil on this guy, but yet not only is he not performed well, we don't even know where his best. It's not like Raya. David Raya, all right, you can't move David Raya as a goalkeeper. He's had some really poor performances. He's had a few okay ones as well. I don't think you can say that with Kai Havertz. And I know people talk about, we disagreed on this on the Brentford game where he got the winner. He came on and scored the winner. He didn't play well that game for me. I know you guys think he did. I don't think he played well. He got the winner. He made an impact. He did something brilliant. But his performance in that 30 minutes, for me, he didn't play well. So I think the only game I've seen Kai Havertz play this season where I think for a significant period of the game, where he impacted the game, his performance was to an elite level, was Luton away. Luton away is the only game this season where I'm like, no, you're one of our top 2 players on the pitch that day. All the other performances for me have been average to good. Or should I say poor to good. Do you know what I mean? And for a £65 million player, at this point in the season, we shouldn't still be wondering, what is it you're meant to...
But Arteta needs to help. Arteta needs to help that. Like no one... Curtis, you've played to a good level. Like, I don't think any player benefits from 1 minute you're here, 1 minute you're there, 1 minute can you do a right back shift, next minute can you be an impact sub? Actually, you know, Ramsey and Raya aren't doing it. Do you mind giving it a go and goal? You're 6'4". Like, it's not gonna. That's the one thing I will say in his defense.
I think the one thing you would say though against Havertz is, I almost think, number one, they must have had discussions before he joined about where he was going to play, and he must have said, "Yeah, I can do that." I think if he'd have nailed that sort of left number 8 role, you know, he would stay there, wouldn't he? He'd be on the left, Odegaard's on the right. So I think as much as we're saying Arteta's moving him and he needs consistency, I think if Havertz was playing well, you know, that consistency you would find is... I almost think Arteta has to move him because he's like, I've played you 5 times there, you haven't done anything. Now I'll try you up front and I'll try you off the bench. And he's just trying. You can see when he scored at Brentford, he was the happiest man in the world. It was like, look at him. You know, I can justify all the money I've spent on him, but we know that ain't going to cut it. You know, for that much money, we need that on a regular basis.
I said Arteta's got special qualities. I'm going to keep referring back to this before I say something that the other side will find mad, because I want people to know I still believe that. But he was stupid for that move. Completely and utterly stupid move. And don't get twisted, over the years, we've all, you know, praised him in some way, shape or form for bringing Arsenal back up here. That's why I can say this. He was stupid. It was... Every week I load up this show or load up Biggs, and one of the first things I think is, I can't believe we've got Kai Havertz. I can't believe it.
Turkish, sorry, I don't think the word is stupid. I think the word is unnecessary and ego-led.
No, bro, Jordan,
I think it was ego-led.
Stupid. I swear, stupid. Even if it's ego-led, you're right, because I think there's some of that in it. But the ego can lead you to stupid decisions.
Yeah.
I think that's what it's done, because it was completely left field. Do you know the amount of 8s that went, including someone who I don't really mention that I've watched throughout this season, but Tielemans on a free is a 10 times better transfer than Kai Havertz. Forget McAllister, forget Kudus, forget Diaby, forget Maddison, forget Szoboszlai, forget whoever else has gone in this window in a similar position or a position we need. Even Yuri Tielemans, who people ripped me about 12 to 18 months ago when I said, well, his contract's coming to an end. You know, if he's available, adds depth into the position. Tielemans, he's not good enough. Have you seen him? He doesn't... Look at what we fucking ended up with.
Jordan, you know, when you said they're ego-led, so do you think Arteta was kind of thinking, I'm the one that can prove everybody wrong? Like, I can unearth the... Yeah.
I think it was and I said unnecessary first, because it didn't need... I think, I don't know Arteta, but it looked like he was trying to be like just too smart for his own good. I can see something, and I tried to, hence my kind of hypothesizing about the Kaka characteristics comparison. I think he was trying to overthink it and think, I can see something in you and I can make you do this and I can get that player out of you. I was like, bro, you didn't need to do all of that. Just buy a number 8. There were plenty of 8s in the market. You didn't need to buy a number 8 who isn't, for me, a number 8 who's had 2 poor seasons. Now, I liked Kai Havertz. I'm not going to be a hypocrite. I said I think technically he's a very gifted player. I don't think he's crap. But the evidence this season we're seeing at Arsenal 6 months, I have to hold that one, because right about now, I don't know if it's the wrong position, the wrong system. He's bombed. He's absolutely bombed. So I say ego-led because I think it's him, similar to Raya, trying to be too smart for his own good.
Yeah.
You didn't need to prioritize a goalkeeper, bro. You didn't need to go and get Kai Havertz for 65 mil. That's a lot of money, bro. We're not City. We're not United. We don't spend.
That's our third highest transfer. Transfer.
It's a shocker. It's a shocker.
It's pretty. We ran some stats on a video I did on AFTV that he spent 65 million on 3 forwards in his whole time at Arsenal. So we can talk about Havertz as a player, but I mean, there's a question around allocation of funds. There's a question around how. I'm not saying Arsenal should have gone out there and bought Kevin De Bruyne. There's one Kevin De Bruyne. I am in the camp, by the way, of greatest midfielder the Premier League seen, for me, the best I've seen. And there are very few players that can do what he does, but that doesn't mean that caliber below, that tier below of a similar mold of player, a final third difference maker, doesn't add something massive to our team. To think that, you know what, I think Jesus can lead the line in a title-winning team, but he needs help. He needs someone else. Saka needs some backup. Ødegaard, I think we've been seeing for a couple of years now that Ødegaard can make the difference in a final third. He's not the final third difference maker. You all might think this is crazy. I think Vieira's closer to that guy. I think Vieira's closer to that magic out of nothing with a football in the final third than probably anything we've got in our team. And I just wonder why this is a guy who everyone always says he's a novice manager, so he doesn't know what he's doing. He did work under Pep Guardiola. He was in the changing room, on the training ground with David Silva, with Kevin De Bruyne, with Bernardo Silva, with Phil Foden, with Sergio Aguero, when Jesus was a backup to Aguero. Like, he saw the level of quality you need, the depth you need to keep up. And I'm so surprised that we're in window 10, 11 under Mikel Arteta, and he's never really addressed that final third, killer. Whether it's that passer, whether it's that finisher, whether it's whatever it is. I believe you can win the league with a false 9. I don't think you need a 30-goal a season striker. But if you're going to get that rate of goals, someone's got to be making them happen. And I'm so surprised at the total lack of investment in any other area of the pitch. And next thing you know, he wants another defender. This guy loves dual winners. That Forest team talk, when I lose a duel, I'm upset. He meant it. He's just
trying to win every duel in the book.
Can I just, sorry, because I know we've got to move on, Turkish. Can I just go back very briefly to a point that James just made just then about De Bruyne? Can I ask all three of you, who do you think is the Premier League's greatest ever player?
Player.
Thierry.
No, don't even ask me that.
James?
Yeah, Thierry.
Okay. So the talk of the last week has been about Kevin De Bruyne being the greatest ever midfielder. I'll go one step further. I think we're talking now about the first genuine contender to the greatest ever player in the Premier League. I think Salah was kind of flirting with it and still could take that crown when he finishes. I genuinely feel De Bruyne has now surpassed the greatest midfielder chat. I think he's in that. I think he's a genuine contender to Thierry Henry to replace him as the Premier League's greatest ever greatest ever player. I genuinely believe that. I think the guy's a genius, and I think we're seeing he's a joy to watch, like Henry. He's won more Prems than Henry. I think the longevity of his time in the Premier League now, he's not been here 2 or 3 years. He's been here now a significant period of time.
9 years.
9 years is a chunk of time in the Premier League. I just wanted to briefly kind of get you. I know we're Thierry Henry guys. I know we're biased. I know we're Arsenal. But I think there's a genuine conversation now about, I'm not saying he's number one, but I think he's the first genuine contender to consider as a replacement to Thierry Henry.
For me, just quickly with De Bruyne, I think, like you said, unbelievable player, one of the best midfielders we've ever seen in the Prem. But I think I still just don't think his impact on the Premier League is anywhere near as big as Thierry's. I feel like when Thierry left, it was like no one's going to touch what I've done there. And I don't think anybody, especially a striker, has come close to what he's done. I think De Bruyne's only had, I could be wrong here, I think he's only had 2 seasons where he's got over 10 goals in the Premier League, which you'd be shocked.
But that's the key. That's the reason why I think we lean towards Henry, because we're comparing goals versus creativity. And we lean towards goals, right? Goals are more sexy, goals are more memorable. He's got more goals than KDB. But I think that if we look at it just from players and impact, I would argue that De Bruyne has at least matched Henry's impact.
I don't think you can say impact, because what Thierry Henry done for this league on and off the pitch, done for this country, I mean, listen, I know it's a small thing now when you look back on it, but
no, you're right. You're right.
The Premier League at one point was cultureless, you know, and that's not to say it wasn't a good league, because it was a good league, 100%. But there wasn't that pizzazz in it, and as much as Wenger brought that in, a lot of that really came in with Thierry Henry as well. That arrogance, that I am world class. There wasn't anyone close to being a Ballon d'Or winner before him, in my opinion. I know Michael Owen won it, the FIFA World Player of the Year. I'm talking about more than Ballon d'Or, because that was the main at that time. But I know Michael Owen won. I know Beckham might have finished second or third. But really and truly, Henry was the one that, whether you're an Arsenal fan, a United fan, a Liverpool, he should have won it. And I think a lot of people, fans of opposition clubs, can admit he should have won it. And what's De Bruyne the best? What's his best attribute? I guess passing, assisting, you know, and playing between the lines. Henry, he's got the record with Henry in terms of assists. That 20-goal, 20-assist season, people underrate it so much because we didn't win the league that year. We only won the FA Cup. But 20 goals and 20 assists, only Messi's done that. Only Messi's done that in a league season, and he's an alien.
Didn't Yaya do that?
Nah, not 20 goals, 20 assists in the league.
I don't think he got 20 assists now.
In the league, Jordan, he had 22 goals, 20 assists. I think off the top of my head, that season, crazy, and that wasn't even a title-winning season, let alone the title-winning season. But you know what? De Bruyne coming. You know, De Bruyne's return against Newcastle. You know what it reminded me of? I won't say he's near Henry, because for me he's not, and maybe that's biased, maybe because my moments, you know, Henry was part of them. But his return against Newcastle reminded me of Henry against Sparta Prague. I don't know if you lot will remember.
I do. I remember.
Yeah, injured for a while, comes off the bench. We need a goal. Chest sit down outside of the boot, bottom corner. And it's just like, you knew this guy's going to do something. When he's on the pitch, 89 minutes has gone. He hasn't done nothing. You know something's coming. And De Bruyne is that sort of a player. But in my opinion, that is exactly the sort of player, circling back to the conversation we was having on Arsenal, that we lack. As much as we like Saka, as much as we like Martinelli, as much as we like Jesus or Declan Rice, or we haven't got that player that backs against the wall, that the other team is defending, you know, immaculately. We haven't got that one player that can just pull something out, that one player that we can turn to and say he's about to do something. And we haven't had that for a very, very... I think Alexis Sanchez was probably the last player that we thought he's going to do something over this 90 minutes.
Or RVP. That last year, RVP was a go-to guy.
His last year was crazy. I just think Thierry's impact worldwide, and I know, like you said, some of it is off the pitch, but you pulled your socks above your knees because of Henry. If you said, what was your goal like? He said it was, the Henry finish. You knew, open up your body, pass it in the far corner. Yeah. The knee slide, the World Cup with France. I just think De Bruyne total package, I don't think his impact is anywhere near as big as Henry.
That's fair.
I agree with you. Ability-wise, he's incredible, but Thierry's just different.
James, briefly.
Sometimes we talk about when we talk about legends, and I didn't watch a lot, you know, all of them, but sometimes you feel like in the modern era of football, you know, how would they fare? Not saying they wouldn't be as good, but you know, the game's evolved so much. Someone like Thierry Henry, no one would ever throw that at him, because like, what didn't he have? Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, let's say you drop Thierry Henry into this Arsenal team right now. You're not talking about a lack of hold-up play. You're not talking about a lack of contribution elsewhere. You mentioned the 20 goals, 20 assists, drifting out left so Martinelli can dart inside. Like he was just perfect. So for me, De Bruyne is the best midfielder I've ever seen. I didn't, and this isn't me saying I didn't rate them before our fans get all upset. I didn't love Lampard and Gerrard. I think from a profile perspective, as much as others, I always loved the I'm not saying they're better, but I love the Fabregases, the David Silvers, those kind of
The
players.
technicians.
Yeah, real technicians. So I don't know if that's a bias there, because people, not even just Liverpool fans, they hold Gerrard to, like, such a level, and I never quite felt as enchanted by him like I do De Bruyne. De Bruyne, just like, he came on against Newcastle, and I kind of thought, oh, that's why we're not winning the league. And I know that's like really defeatist, and we can, and I do believe we can, and great stories and all that, but the guy just side-footed it into the net from 20 yards like it was nothing.
It's the best goal of the game.
Our players can't do that one-on-one with the keeper.
Just a bowling ball. Yeah, you're right. One-on-one with the keeper, he went, I'll do it from 20 yards, you idiot.
And then look at the ball that he played to Oscar Bob, just like ripped their whole defense apart.
It's just
insane.
Like,
he also, I don't think I'm exaggerating when I say, if that's slightly ahead, the keeper gets there. If it's slightly behind, the defender deals with it. Like, he hit that one perfect area of the pitch. And I thought, yeah. So unless Vieira evolves into some like
allow it.
Like,
yeah, don't do that.
I'm just saying I'm saying we don't have anyone who can attempt. Like, Odegaard might attempt, but I don't think we have a player who can conjure something out of, like,
they can do it consistently, James, and in the pressure moments, not in the 4th minute. I'm talking every other game in the minutes that matter, in the 90th minute to win the game. And I know this is an Arsenal podcast, but I've seen some wild videos comparing, putting Lampard above De Bruyne, and I'm just like, I just don't understand why people just feel the need to say things for content. Like, for me, De Bruyne goes clear of your three favorites anyway: Scholes, Gerrard, and Lampard. And Lampard's lucky to be in that group, in my opinion. But I'm seeing people put genuine arguments forward to suggest that Lampard
Matisse.
Well, they're jumping on the goals, aren't they? That's why he did.
Oh, it's just embarrassing, Curtis. I've said some wild things, but come on, man. Sorry, we're kind of going off track. Sorry.
You see that you're all going to think I'm like, loving Fabio Vieira. I'm just saying, like, did you guys not see that?
I'm a little bit worried. I'm not going to.
Well, fair enough. But did you guys not see that moment from De Bruyne and think, we don't have anyone who can? Okay, I'll give you a good example. James Maddison is nowhere near Kevin De Bruyne, but he can do something in a final third that turns a game on its head. Like, and I just kept asking, who is our closest? And then I remember back to the Fulham game where it was 1-1. And Vieira whipped that low ball into the box for Nketiah. Like, only Vieira can play that pass, in my opinion, in our squad. I don't know if anyone else can.
I think Odegaard's meant to be that guy, isn't he, really?
Yeah,
Give me the ball, I'll make something happen.
I think we've seen moments. He's got the technical quality to, but to do it is also like a, do you see it? Do you dare? Do you, like, all those other things? And we need a bit of that. And I know that we're all calling for a striker, and it's amazing after all this money spent that we actually still need so much, because we're actually talking about two £80 million players there potentially. But I think we need that final third monster from midfield as much as we need a striker. If I'm honest, to compete at the level City have for so many years, you need both. Maybe a striker gets you over the line 1 year. Maybe a 30-goal a season striker or forward makes that happen one season. But the reason they've been so consistent, City, is ultimately because they got players that have done it for so long and have that consistency and do it in lots of different ways.
Yeah, and when you build on top of that, it's a very different base to build on top of, some of the ones we've seen in recent years, especially ours when Arteta came in. But bearing in mind time, let's slowly but surely move it on to, let me bring up the prediction table and then a little Palace chat, what we want to see, and then get into predictions. No change, people. Obviously, audio listeners as well. It's been the winter break for Arsenal. So just a reminder, 30 games played, 30 predictions made. James is top on 23 points. I'm in second on 21 points. Lee in third on 18 points with 3 correct scores. Jordan also on 18, but fourth because of 1 correct score. So that determines the order of predictions, people. But yeah, Palace, I mean, Elise is probably the one to look out for. Quality player will probably get a move this summer, and probably a player that I'd like to see, come to Arsenal and provide competition and depth for the Saka position. Do I think it'll happen? No, but I'm just throwing that out there in terms of I like his profile quite a bit. Eze is also quality. Jordan, did you just put your hand up?
Yeah, just to kind of respond to your point there, Turkish. I think there's arguably a very similar game coming up to the West Ham game. If you look at the West Ham team and how they set up, I don't think we should expect anything too different in this game. I think defensively they'll be solid. There'll be a block. We know what they're about, but they've actually got some attackers that can hurt, man. You just named a couple there. So we've almost, in my opinion, had a rehearsal for this game because the West Ham game was what I expect this game to be. I think it's a massive game. I think even if you draw, a draw is a loss for me on this one. I think you can't even afford to draw this game. You're in big trouble. I don't have Spurs as title contenders. I know people go, oh, but they're only 1 point behind Arsenal. They're not built for this for the long haul. But if you drop points here and then Spurs win, as I mentioned earlier on, you are genuinely in a battle for top 4. I think Palace will come and think a point's a good result. And I think we have to come back from this Dubai trip with a different mindset. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again, basics. Just go back to basics. Win your headers, block crosses, put good crosses into their box, hit the near post. Just do the basics really, really well, because I think thinking about the title, we've got to forget about that for now. Just win a game, then win 2 games, then win 4 games, and then see where we are come the end of February, March. Just creep back into a bit of form. This game is massive for me. So I genuinely feel that there's a chance for us to kind of get back on the horse. We've been rested, been away. Let's come back and let's just get back to basics and, a clean sheet, and then go from there. Hopefully I've been doing some finishing practice in Dubai because, I don't see any strike coming anytime soon.
Yeah. I said to Josh the other day, you all know Josh. I said, Dubai, I would have sent them to fucking Bulgaria or something after the form they're on. And then Josh explained why you can't do that. And I said, yeah, don't get. I probably would be sacked as well using them terms methods. But listen, they've had a break. Dubai, beautiful. Families have been invited, off the back of the poorest form we've seen in 18 months. No excuses. No excuses. Now you come back, you put Palace to the sword. I know Palace have got threats of their own, but I expect goals against them now. We're at home. We've let Arsenal let the fans down in recent games. Now it's time to bounce back, and I think I think we've got one chance to bounce back, if I'm honest, and this is the chance to bounce back. I think if it gets any worse, then the reality, starts to settle a lot more than it does if it hasn't already. I think for me, I've told you my thoughts about the league. I didn't think we'd win it originally at the start, and I think we're some way off, me thinking that's different now. I actually predicted second at the start of the season. If you asked me to make a prediction now, I'd probably say third. But yeah, Palace, we should just get the job done. James, Curtis, anything really to add onto this game?
After you, Curtis.
I mean, I think Jordan nailed it there. Just win a game of football. Forget about the transfer window. Forget about winning the league. Just win this game. And listen, 12:30 kickoff. All the eyes of the world are going to be on us. We're in a bad run of form. The media are talking about us. The game's on TV. Palace have only won 1 in their last 5, but they drew 2 with Man City. They only lost 2-1 to Liverpool after the red card and stuff like that. So, like you said, they're going to park 2 double-decker buses on the edge of the box, try and hit us on the counter-attack. So we know what the game plan is. But the longer the game is 0-0, the more nervous Arsenal will get because the crowd will be a little bit edgy and they know the pressure they're under. But there's no excuse. They've had nearly 2 weeks off. They went to Dubai. They were relaxed. You look at Palace. Palace played in the FA Cup replay yesterday and got beat to Everton. So, psychologically, they're not in great shape. So for me, listen, sometimes when you're under pressure, you've got to show what you're really about. If this team are genuine title contenders or they are this top quality team that a lot of people think they are, then Crystal Palace at home, you've got to win that game. So I think it's it's a result over performance game. We'd all like to see a great performance as well. But I think just get out of there with 3 points. Looking ahead at the next few games, I think we've got Forest, then Liverpool, then West Ham. These next two have got to be a nailed on 6 points. So, yeah, you've got to be beating Palace at home.
So, no one's going to say it then, no?
Go on.
Rob Holding masterclass.
He won't be on the pitch, mate.
At the Emirates.
He'll be filling up water bottles.
Rifles one in the top corner, winks at the camera.
He wasn't even on the. He wasn't even. Is he injured or something? He wasn't even playing FA Cup, was he?
Roy don't want nothing to do with him, mate.
Oh, jeez.
Listen, I've seen crazier storylines. Yeah, look, there's a big part of me that's like, just win the game of football. There's the other part of me that's like, come back and show us you're raring to go and fired up. Because, you know, this would have been a break in Dubai, and then I've done some warm weather training and taken some time to, you know, recoup energy or whatever. And that's fine. I think we've all been fairly understanding of that to a degree. I also hope they come back going, we're out of both cups. Like the two competitions we felt we had the best chance in, really, because City sort of can sometimes throw them away or whatever. We're now in it with City for the Premier League and the Champions League. Of course, other clubs in there, Liverpool for the Premier League, big clubs that you don't disrespect in the Champions League. I hope these players have come back raring to go. Like, this is it. Big. Well, first it's big 2 months before another international break, and then it's a big final 2 months. So those 2-month stints, just go big. Go really big. Every game matters now. There's none of that. You know, even with the FA Cup, which I didn't want to go out of, you know, the nerves aren't quite the same. Yeah. Liverpool at home in the league isn't quite, you know, there's something about, rather than Liverpool at home in the FA Cup. And that's a hierarchy. It's an order of priority to a degree, I suppose. But every game is crucial now. And I really hope they come out firing. Hope they come out showing us that they got their energy back, that they got their ideas back, they got their shooting boots back, and that they're ready. Because, you know, Jordy made that point brilliantly. You know, you win a couple games, but winning a couple games means Liverpool are in there. So that gap of 5 goes down to 2. And then City, even if they keep doing their thing, we're 3 points behind them. Now, if people had said, you know, going into mid-Feb, you know, at the start of the season, you'll be 3 points off City, 2 points off Liverpool. I'm not saying we would have been happy with that, but that's by no means a disastrous position to be in the league. So this can turn around quickly, but they need to come out firing. They need to come out firing. They need to tell the fans that break it's brought us back raring to go. I think even if we limp over the line, I think we'll be relieved we've got 3 points. But the concerns will be there. And I think the concerns have been underlying all season. Is Havertz and I don't get the balance of midfield. Just get the balance right. I want 11 good performances on the pitch, and let's build some momentum.
They've got to prove. They've got.
Sorry.
They've got to prove that, because the recent form, and this might be unfair of me, and this is not, you know, this is typical of me. People know me. If you know me, pessimist. But I just feel like they have to prove that last season and the first 18 games this season wasn't us completely riding a wave, completely riding, you know, the momentum that we found ourselves in, and the plaudits we was getting, and the praise, and because the last 6 games is making me wonder whether it was that wave that we were just riding till the very last, till we're on the sand. Now, are we on the sand, or are we going to pick up a next wave? That's what I want to see now, because James is right. We're not in a. People will watch this and they might call it a negative podcast. I don't think it's been that. I think we've just discussed negatives. I don't think it's been a negative podcast. I think, you know, when you discuss negatives, people tend not to like it. But I just feel like we've got to now find that next wave and prove doubters wrong. And there's doubters within the fan base, including myself here. You know, I'm speaking for myself, but, you know, I know other Arsenal fans that have many doubts too right now about whether we have that player that can step up to be counted in tight games, whether, you know, Arteta did make the right decision with Havertz coming in, and there's still some hope he finds. These are all things that need to be answered in the next 4 games, in my opinion. They need to be answered. But yeah,
Sorry, just final quick point. And to that point, Turkish, I think that although I mentioned forget the title race, just focus on one game at a time. I think while I think the title was dead for us, stay in the pack to prove that actually it wasn't just a nice 18 months that we had where actually we were pretenders. If they can put together a nice short run of games now, just stay in the pack, get to March to the point where it's not dead. We may still be third come March, but you're 6 points off top rather than 11 points off top. Just stay in the pack. Just go under the radar. Just stay just cling on. Just cling on to whoever's at the top for as long as possible. Yeah. Let's get to March and let's see where we are then. You lose or drop points on Saturday, you're done.
Yeah, if we lose or drop points on Saturday and you find this podcast negative, please don't tune in next week. Don't do it. Don't do it. Predictions now. I've got Lee on WhatsApp. Hopefully he's ready and he's not in the middle of Thailand with his shirt off on a motorbike. But let me just see quickly before we get into it. All right, he is third on the list, as you can see from the table now. So James, kick us off with your prediction, bro.
3-0 to the Arsenal.
Oh, 3-0. I'm going 3-1. I thought James might actually take my usual prediction. So 3-0, 3-1. Lee messaged me saying 2-0. He'll stick with that because he assumes James will go 2-1 and I'll go 3-1. So he was 50% right there, but he's gone 2-0. Curtis, what's your prediction?
I'll go 2-1. I think it'll be a nervous, edgy win.
2-1. Well, what as in 2-0 up, they score with 10 minutes to go, and then
maybe something like that. I just think, yeah.
I got a few of those.
2-1.
Got a few of those. Jordan,
I'm not convinced we win, and I don't think anybody's rationale can beyond. Oh, we've just got to win, or they've had a break. I need someone to tell me a genuine reason why you think we win this football game.
Can I read Lee's last sentence?
Go on.
Let me rewind. I take it that you're going 3-1, James probably 2-1, and the wanker will go for a draw.
Lee knows me. I'm just keeping it real. You lot are giving scorelines that you hope will happen because you can't tell me apart from, but we've got to win. That's not a reason. Tell me why you think we're going to win.
We're a better team than Palace.
We're a better team than West Ham. We're a better team than bloody Fulham. Didn't win those games. So why now?
But can you explain why you're bottom of the prediction table then?
That's also a fair point, Turkish.
Wait, Jordan, do you want me to tell you why we're going to win, by the way?
Go on.
Arteta went to Salt Bay's restaurant.
Let's allow that talk. Let's skip past that, Curtis.
Let's sprinkle of magic.
We're not doing that. That's a whole half an hour. No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that.
They say it's the fine margins that win you titles.
Oh, James. God. I'm going for
Jordan's been, you lot don't know. Jordan's been fed in the same manner.
Yeah, but the difference is there was no cameras around Turkish. Like, there's no proof. Yeah. I'm not putting that shit. I'm not putting that on the internet. Yeah.
That video gave the opposite fans so much ammunition.
Curtis, he's killed us. He's killed us. If we don't win on Saturday, that will go viral. Trust me. But anyway,
he's killed you. It's with a Turkish man in a Turkish restaurant. Why? Look, and a thumbs up. Why did this thumbs up always come at the wrong time?
Oh, jeez. I'm going for a goalless draw.
No.
Oh, I can't wait to watch that game.
Yeah.
We'll probably nick it 1-0 in the last minute. But
and I can hear us all at minute 77. Just bring on Eddie. Bring on Reeves.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Just do something. Kivior for height in the box. Just do something.
Do anything.
Just do it. And then we'll nick it maybe in the 89th. The title race is on.
Yeah.
Home.
It'll be kind
I'll hear Curtis on his string. I never doubted him.
Yeah.
Always right at that Havertz.
Sign the team. Arteta, sign the team. 4 more years.
Shirt is happening.
Predictions done. So Jordan's gone for a 0-0. James has gone for a 3-0. I've gone for a 3-1. Lee's gone for a 2-0, and Curtis has gone for a 2-1. So every single score different amongst the 5 of us.
And you lot know me. If it's 0-0 at 80 minutes, our group chat's going to be active. Trust me, I'm going to be in that group chat active. I'm just
what
letting you know.
Say you hope Palace hold out for the draw.
No comment. No comment. No comment.
Let's round it off with comments of the day, people. Obviously, Curtis exempt from this. Jordan, James, I assume you've got yours ready. I've got mine ready.
Yeah.
I'll kick it off. Captain Mayo said, "You guys are the perfect blend. Jordan, salty. James, sweet. Lee, bitter. Turkish cheat." I'll take it.
It's a fair point.
Did you guys grab them from the draft video or the video before?
I had a few from both, but the one I've got here is from the draft video.
Yeah, mine are from the draft video.
I appreciated all the comments around the players we missed out. Like, I didn't realize how many, good players probably were worthy of conversation. But it's really simple. And I might have also forgotten about comments till quite late. But King Thomas just says, a man said Oleg Luzhny.
I had that as well, yeah. I had that as well.
Curtis, we're doing all-time draft, yeah? And this guy in the top right corner says Oleg Luzhny, man.
No, hang on a minute, Curtis. Them guys bent me over. Man. Them guys bent me over, yeah. I had to go last.
No one bent
I had to go last.
Hey, pause. Bro.
You know
what's going on this show last week?
Time out.
No. I'm gonna say it. They effed me over. Yeah, I had to go last on every single pick, and even the comments were saying it was wrong that Jordan had to go last on everything. So I had to go with people like Oleg Luzhny. You know what I mean? I got bet anyway.
Yeah. Does Oleg Luzhny make your top 4 of any position?
No, this should be surely.
Cool. So no excuses.
I'll hold that one. I've got a couple here. I've got one here. Where is it? James, you go next.
I just did.
You just got over you. There was 2 really good ones.
Oh, you can take a point deduction. I don't mind.
No. There were 2 really good ones that I've got here. I thought I screenshot it.
As he's scrolling through the.
I am.
Rolling frantically.
I am.
I got a couple good ones.
This is undoubtedly my favorite podcast. That one from Phantom 6 Man. That was a good.
You tell me you saved that. This is you. Hey, Jordan, you are
hang on. There was a couple. Where was I? I've lost it. I'm fuming.
This was his gallery and seen like nights out pictures.
This was a good one as well.
Seen him in a nightclub, like yo.
This was a nice one, guys. There was literally nothing on YouTube until this popped up. Love you guys. That was a really nice comment.
That was the first comment. Nah, I'm talking you.
Well, no, it was comment 5 actually, but because James took my one. James took the one that I had.
Scrambling here, by the way.
Scrambling.
I don't know if the sun's in his eyes. He's going back through the comments.
Nah, I'm gonna speak to the judges about this one.
You read through the worst comments I've ever heard.
I want to big up Johan, who's a Liverpool supporter, but he loves our podcast as well. I saw him at King's Cross Station. So big up Johan, Liverpool fan, but loves the Fourever Arsenal podcast and all the other comments as well. They're all great. There's too many to pick.
That's turned into a segment on the show. If you see Jordan out and about in London, stop him and tell him your name because he'll shout you out at the end of this show.
Yeah, man, show the love, man. I'm the people's champ. Man of the people on the tube.
Johan and Liverpool. I big up anyway. Big up the opposition fans that watch the podcast because we've got a few of those. Hit the like button, people. I haven't reminded you to hit the like, so let's get to 1,000 likes right now. Hour 18 minutes. It wasn't even meant to be an hour, and to be honest, it's going to be an hour 20 because, as usual, we have.
Final point. Final interruption. I want to just big up. I've got a brand new podcast called Not for Clicks. We're on episode 2. So those that want to hear more of me, that's probably only 3 of you. You can go to our YouTube page, which is just up. That is generous. We're also on all the podcast outlets as well. So Not for Clicks. We talk about football, but also sport. We don't analyze games, but we talk about all the kind of issues and review documentaries as well. So Not for Clicks. Big up yourselves. Check us out.
There you go, people. Not for Clicks. Big up Jordan. What we'll do is, you know what, Jordan, send the link and we'll put it in the description below. We'll get that done for you. Curtis, same thing for you, my brother. I'm sure they know where to find you, but I will pin the channel link in the description. Curtis Shaw TV. And a little breaking news, a little here we go. You might as well subscribe to Curtis's channel, Curtis Shaw TV. Subscribe to my channel, Turkish LDN. We have a show coming real soon. It might be tomorrow. It might not be tomorrow. Make sure you're subscribed and you'll know people. And big up James. He's there clapping away, but he deserves a clap of his own.
Curtis show. Turkish Curtis show. What's it called?
You got it in one.
The Turkish Curtis show.
Basically, Turkish and Curtis.
That's a good name.
Oh, you got a show together?
Yeah.
Oh, sick. Okay. Nice.
Very good.
Yeah, it's called Not for Clicks.
But then you owe me some money because we copyrighted it, bro. You know
I swear, it's called Fuck It, and I back to the drawing board. First one, out! Exclamation mark! Let's get people clicking.
I've got one just for clicks coming out as well.
Yeah,
so. I don't mean anything I say on that, just so you know. So by all means, come and join.
Nah, just to round off the shout outs though, James deserves a shout out as well because he's doing great things, wonderful things on his channel. I'm getting inspiration from his channel too as well. The editing, the thumbnails, all on point. I'm someone who likes attention to detail, so make sure if you're a fan of the stuff I do or me over the years, go over and look at what James is doing because I see, I see the same trajectory there as well in terms of the way he makes videos, the way he applies himself to his content. So make sure you subscribe to James Gooniverse.
That's the James B. Yeah, is the name,
James
whatever.
B.
But yeah, thanks, guys. I appreciate that. Very kind.
Come on, James B. Curtis Shaw TV, Not for Clicks, and you know where I'm at already. People, hit the like button, get it up to 1,000. We will be back after the Palace game, and like I said, hopefully it's a 3 points because it's been a little while since we've had a thumbnail with all 4 of us smiling. So hopefully the next one will be that. Until then, people, make sure you subscribe, put the notification bell on, and look out for all the content coming. Love for the love. We're out. Peace.